Today, we're diving into Lean Six Sigma, an approach that's transforming how businesses operate worldwide. Imagine running your business like a well-oiled machine, where every process is streamlined and optimized for efficiency. That's what Lean Six Sigma aims to achieve. Let's start by understanding the basics. Lean focuses on reducing waste while delivering customer value. It's about identifying those redundant steps in your processes that don't add any real value and cutting them out. Think of it as decluttering your workspace, but for business operations. Six Sigma, on the other hand, aims to improve quality by minimizing defects and errors. It's a methodical approach that relies heavily on data analysis and statistical tools to pinpoint where improvements can be made. So while Lean is about trimming waste, Six Sigma ensures everything runs smoothly without glitches or hiccups. When you combine these two methodologies, you get Lean Six Sigma, an incredibly powerful system for driving continuous improvement in your business. It's not just about cutting costs, it's about delivering high-quality products and services that keep customers coming back for more. The journey to becoming a Lean Six Sigma expert begins with understanding the DMAIC framework. Define, measure, analyze, improve, control. Each step is crucial in identifying opportunities for improvement, implementing those changes, and then monitoring their effectiveness over time. So whether you're dealing with high-ticket items or handling low-volume transactions, Lean Six Sigma can help you optimize your processes and achieve outstanding results. It's about getting to the nitty-gritty of what really matters, making sure every step in your business adds value and contributes towards achieving your goals. In conclusion, embracing Lean Six Sigma is like giving your business a thorough tune-up. It helps you spot inefficiencies and correct them, ensuring smoother operations and better performance overall. Today, we're diving into an exciting topic that can really shake up how you approach problem-solving and quality improvement in your workplace. Lean Six Sigma. Imagine you're working on a project and suddenly hit a roadblock, feeling like no matter what you do, progress seems to slow down. That's where Lean Six Sigma swoops in to save the day. Lean Six Sigma is a powerful methodology that combines two different strategies. Lean focuses on eliminating waste and improving flow, while Six Sigma aims for near-perfect performance by minimizing defects and errors. Together, they create a super-effective approach that can streamline processes, reduce costs, and boost productivity. Let's start with the basics. Why do we need this? Well, in today's fast-paced business world, staying ahead means being efficient and effective. Lean Six Sigma helps businesses become more agile by cutting out unnecessary steps and focusing on what really matters. It's like taking a high-ticket item and making sure every part of its production is optimized. Now let's talk about the benefits. First off, it improves product quality. By identifying defects early in the process, you can prevent them from becoming major issues down the line. This leads to happier customers who receive products that meet their expectations consistently. Secondly, Lean Six Sigma boosts productivity. When waste is eliminated and processes are optimized, teams can complete tasks faster without sacrificing quality. Another key benefit is cost reduction. By reducing defects and improving efficiency, companies save money on raw materials, labor costs, and even rework expenses. It's a win-win situation. Less spending means more profits for the company and better returns for shareholders. But wait, there's more. Lean Six Sigma also enhances employee engagement. When workers are part of the improvement process, they feel valued and empowered to contribute their ideas. This boosts morale and creates a positive work environment where everyone is motivated to succeed together. So how does one implement this in a business? It starts with training employees on the principles of Lean Six Sigma and empowering them to identify areas for improvement. Then comes the nitty-gritty, using tools like DMAIC: define, measure, analyze, improve, control, or DMAD: define, measure, analyze, design, verify to tackle specific problems. In conclusion, adopting Lean Six Sigma can be a game changer for businesses looking to improve quality, boost productivity, and reduce costs. It's not just about numbers, it's about creating a culture of continuous improvement where every team member plays an important role in making their organization the best it can be. Let's dive into understanding how to capture the voice of the customer, or VOC for short. It's all about listening closely to what your customers are telling you and using that information to improve your product or service. First up is qualitative research. This involves engaging with customers directly through interviews, focus groups, or even just casual conversations. The goal here is to uncover their feelings, thoughts, and experiences in a more personal way. For instance, if we were selling high-ticket items, like luxury watches, we might ask our VIP clients about what aspects of the buying process they found most satisfying and where there was room for improvement. Next comes quantitative research. This method uses surveys or questionnaires to gather numerical data from a larger group of people. By analyzing these responses statistically, you can identify trends and patterns that are common across your customer base. For example, if we surveyed 100 customers about why they chose our brand over others, we might find out that ease of use was the #1 factor. Another key technique is social media listening. With millions of people sharing their opinions online every day, there's a wealth of unstructured data just waiting to be mined. By monitoring hashtags and mentions related to your business on platforms like Twitter or Instagram, you can get real-time feedback about what's working well and where customers are facing issues. Customer reviews and ratings also play an important role in VOC techniques. Platforms like Yelp or TripAdvisor provide invaluable insights into how customers perceive your product or service. Regularly reading through these reviews can help pinpoint areas that need attention quickly before they become bigger problems. Lastly, let's talk about feedback loops. Setting up a system where you regularly solicit customer opinions and then use their responses to make iterative improvements is crucial for staying relevant. Whether it's implementing an annual survey or creating a dedicated customer advisory board, these methods ensure your business stays aligned with what customers truly want. In conclusion, capturing the voice of the customer isn't just about listening, it's about acting on that information to better serve your clients and build long-lasting relationships. By combining qualitative research, quantitative data analysis, social media monitoring, review tracking, and feedback loops, you can develop a comprehensive understanding of your customer base and make meaningful improvements to your offerings. All right, everyone, let's dive into process mapping today, because understanding how things flow from start to finish can really clarify your goals and help you see where improvements are needed. So, what is process mapping exactly? It's essentially drawing out the steps of a task or project in a visual way. This helps us get a clear picture of each stage and how they connect together. Let me walk you through it step by step. First off, gather your team and start by identifying all the key players involved in this process. Write down who does what at each stage. Once everyone's roles are clear, we can move on to mapping out those steps themselves. Start with the initial input or trigger for the process and work your way through until you reach the final output. Next up, think about any decision points along the way. These might require different paths depending on the outcome. Mark them clearly in your map so that everyone understands what happens next based on specific criteria. Now, don't forget to note down any handoffs or transitions between steps where ownership changes from one person or department to another. This is crucial for maintaining smooth flow and avoiding bottlenecks. As you create this visual roadmap, keep an eye out for inefficiencies or redundancies that might slow things down unnecessarily. Sometimes a process looks good on paper, but in reality, it's full of unnecessary steps or duplicated efforts. Once your map is complete, review it with the team to make sure everyone agrees and understands their role within the overall flow. This collaboration can uncover potential issues early before they become big problems later on. Finally, use this visual representation as a tool for continuous improvement. Regularly revisit and update the process map as needed to reflect any changes or enhancements made over time. So there you have it. Process mapping is all about clarity, efficiency, and teamwork. By visually breaking down tasks into clear steps, we can better understand our processes and work together to optimize them for success. All right, everyone, let's dive into today's topic: data collection methods. When it comes to gathering information for any project or research, understanding how we collect data is crucial. So whether you're looking at surveys, interviews, or even observational studies, knowing the ins and outs of each method can really make all the difference. First up, let's talk about primary data collection methods. These are when you gather your own data firsthand. Surveys are a great example here. They allow researchers to collect specific information from a large group quickly and efficiently. Interviews are another powerful tool, giving us the ability to get deep insights into what people think or feel. And don't forget about observational studies, where we observe subjects in their natural environment without interfering. Then there's secondary data collection methods, which involve using existing sources of data. This can include reviewing published articles, government statistics, or industry reports. The beauty here is that you're saving time and resources by not having to collect the data yourself from scratch. Now, when choosing a method, it's important to consider what type of information you need and how accessible your target group is. For instance, if you're looking at high-ticket items purchased online, an online survey might be ideal since many potential customers are already using digital platforms. But if you're studying behaviors in rural areas, face-to-face interviews could provide richer context. Lastly, always think about the limitations of each method and how they might affect your results. For example, self-reported data from surveys can sometimes lead to bias or inaccuracies due to social desirability or memory lapses. So there you have it: primary methods like surveys and interviews versus secondary methods such as reviewing existing data sources. Each has its strengths and weaknesses depending on the context of your research. Remember, picking the right method is key to getting accurate, reliable data that will help drive your project forward. That's all for today's lesson on data collection methods. Thanks for joining me, and I hope this gives you some great insights into how best to gather information for your next project. All right, everyone, let's dive into the world of basic statistics and metrics today. These tools are like your best friends when you want to understand data in a clear and concise way. So let's start off with some fundamentals. First up, we have averages. This is probably one of the most commonly used metrics. It gives us an idea about the central value of our data set, helping us grasp what's typical or normal. There are different types of averages, though: mean, median, and mode. The mean is like the sum of all your values divided by how many there are. It's pretty straightforward, but can be affected by outliers. Median is the middle number when you arrange all your numbers in order. Mode is simply the most frequent value. Next up, let's talk about measures of spread or dispersion. This tells us how much our data varies from the average. The range gives us the difference between the highest and lowest values, but it doesn't tell us about all the other numbers. Variance and standard deviation are more detailed. They look at how far each number in the set is from the mean. Another important metric to know is percentages. Percentages give us a way to compare different data sets or track changes over time. For instance, if you're looking at sales growth year over year, percentages help show that increase. Correlation coefficients are also key. These tell us how closely two variables move together. A correlation of 1 means they move perfectly together, while -1 means they move in opposite directions. 0 indicates no relationship between them. Lastly, let's touch on some common statistical tests you might encounter: t-tests and chi-square tests. These help us determine if the differences we see in our data are statistically significant or just due to chance. So there you have it: folks' averages, measures of spread, percentages, correlation coefficients, and a couple of basic statistical tests. These tools will serve as your foundation for understanding and interpreting data effectively. Welcome to our session on root cause analysis, or RCA for short. Today, we're diving deep into understanding what exactly is causing those pesky problems that keep popping up in your workday. So grab your thinking caps and let's get started. First off, what does RCA mean? Simply put, it's a method used to identify the underlying reasons behind why an issue occurred. Think of it like peeling back layers of an onion until you reach the core problem that's the root cause we're after. By doing this, you can then take steps to prevent similar issues from happening again in the future. Now, let's break down how RCA works step by step. The process usually starts with defining the issue clearly and setting boundaries around what needs investigating. Then comes data gathering, where you collect all relevant information about the problem, everything from when it happened, who was involved, to any contributing factors that played a role. Next up is cause and effect analysis. This involves mapping out how different elements are connected and which ones might be causing the issue at hand. You can use tools like fishbone diagrams or flowcharts here to visualize these connections better. After identifying potential causes, it's time for evaluation, where you assess each one based on evidence collected earlier. Some may turn out to be just symptoms rather than root causes once examined closely. The goal is to narrow down until you find that single most significant cause behind the issue. Once you've pinpointed the root cause, brainstorming solutions becomes easier. Think about strategies for addressing this core problem directly and then work on implementing them effectively in your organization or project. Remember, RCA isn't a one-time activity, but rather an ongoing process of continuous improvement. By regularly conducting RCA sessions, you can build better systems and processes that reduce errors and boost overall performance. So there you have it, the basics of root cause analysis explained in a nutshell. It's all about digging deep into those issues to really understand what's going on beneath the surface so you can tackle them head-on and move forward with confidence. That wraps up our session today on RCA. I hope this gives you some valuable insights to apply in your own work or projects. If you have any questions or want to explore further, feel free to reach out anytime. Today, we're diving into the nitty-gritty of hypothesis testing basics. It's an essential tool in statistics that helps us make decisions based on data. So let's get started. Imagine you have a business where you sell high-ticket items and you want to know if changing your pricing strategy will increase sales. This is where hypothesis testing comes into play. The first step is forming your null hypothesis. The null hypothesis, often denoted as H0, represents the status quo or no change. In our example, it could be that changing the price won't affect sales. Next up is the alternative hypothesis, which we denote as HA. This is what you're testing against the null. It suggests there's a difference. For instance, increasing prices might lead to decreased sales. Now, let's talk about significance level, or alpha. You choose this before conducting your test. Common choices are 0.05 or 0.01. The alpha value helps determine whether you'll reject the null hypothesis based on statistical evidence. After setting up these hypotheses and choosing an appropriate significance level, it's time to collect data and calculate a test statistic. This could be a t-score, z-score, or another measure that tells us how far our sample mean deviates from the hypothesized population mean under H0. With this information, we can compare our calculated test statistic against critical values corresponding to our chosen alpha level. If our test statistic falls in the rejection region, we reject H0 and accept HA as true with a certain degree of confidence. Let's wrap up by summarizing what we've learned today about hypothesis testing basics. We start by defining null and alternative hypotheses, choose a significance level, gather data to compute a test statistic, and then decide whether to reject the null hypothesis based on our findings. That's it for now. Thanks for joining me in exploring this fundamental concept of statistics. All right, everyone, let's dive into today's session on brainstorming techniques for solutions. Imagine you're faced with a tough problem and you need to come up with innovative ideas quickly. This is where these techniques really shine. First things first, let's talk about the classic round-robin technique. It's simple. Go around in a circle, each person shares one idea at a time until everyone has had their turn. This way, no one feels left out and every voice gets heard. Next up, we have mind mapping. Start with your main problem or goal at the center, then branch out into subcategories and ideas surrounding it. It's like building a tree of thoughts. Visually connecting concepts can spark new associations you might not have thought of otherwise. Then, there's the lateral thinking technique by Edward de Bono. This involves changing your perspective to see things in a different light. For example, instead of focusing on how to improve sales, maybe think about why customers aren't buying or what competitors are doing differently. It's all about looking at the problem from another angle. Another powerful method is scamper substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to another use, eliminate, reverse. Take your current idea and ask yourself questions based on these categories. For instance, can you substitute a part of it with something else? Or reverse an element? The possibilities are endless. Now let's not forget about the high-ticket item known as brainstorming sessions, inviting diverse thinkers from different backgrounds to contribute their unique perspectives. This diversity in thought can lead to breakthrough ideas that might otherwise go unnoticed. Lastly, don't underestimate the power of taking breaks during your brainstorming session. Sometimes stepping away and coming back refreshed with a new perspective can unlock creativity you didn't know was there. So remember, whether it's round-robin for equal participation or scamper for creative twists on existing ideas, these techniques are all about opening up possibilities and finding solutions that might not be immediately obvious. Keep them handy next time you're tackling a tough problem. They could be the key to unlocking innovative solutions. All right, everyone, let's dive into the exciting world of design of experiments, or DOE for short. Imagine you're trying to figure out what makes your garden grow best. Is it sunlight, water, soil type? DOE helps us understand these variables and their impact in an organized way. So first off, what exactly is DOE? It's a structured approach to conducting experiments that allows us to identify the relationship between factors affecting a process and the outcomes we're interested in. Think of it like setting up your garden beds with different combinations of sun exposure, water amounts, and soil types. Then you observe which combination leads to healthier plants. Now let's talk about why DOE is so important. It helps optimize processes, reduce costs, and improve product quality by identifying the key factors that influence outcomes. For example, in manufacturing, DOE can help determine the optimal settings for machinery to produce high-quality products at minimal cost. To start a DOE project, we first need to define our objectives clearly. What are we trying to achieve? Then identify all the potential factors or variables involved. Next step is to decide which factors will be varied during the experiment and their possible levels. This sets up your experimental runs, the specific combinations of factor settings you'll test. There are several types of DOE designs, but two common ones are full factorial and fractional factorial designs. Full factorial means testing every combination of factors at all levels, while fractional factorial only tests a subset of those combinations to save time and resources. Depending on how many factors you have and your budget constraints, you might choose one over the other. When conducting your experiment, it's crucial to follow a randomized order for each run. This helps eliminate bias from external influences and ensures that any observed effects are due to changes in factor settings rather than sequence. After collecting all your data, statistical analysis comes into play. We use tools like ANOVA analysis of variance or regression models to determine which factors have significant impacts on the outcome. These analyses help us understand not just individual effects, but also how factors interact with each other. Finally, once we've identified key factors and their optimal settings, we can implement these changes in our process. This could mean adjusting machinery settings, changing raw material suppliers, or tweaking recipes to achieve desired product quality at lower cost. In conclusion, DOE is a powerful tool for optimizing processes and improving outcomes by systematically studying the effects of various factors. Whether you're growing plants or manufacturing products, understanding how different elements interact can lead to breakthroughs in efficiency and effectiveness. All right, everyone, let's dive into today's topic: Standard Operating Procedures, or SOPs for short. You might be wondering why we're talking about these now. Well, imagine you're running a business and every task is done differently by each employee. It would lead to inconsistency, confusion, and ultimately, inefficiency. That's where SOPs come into play. SOPs are like your go-to manuals for daily tasks or processes in your organization. They provide clear instructions on how things should be done, ensuring consistency across the board. Picture it as a recipe book. Every time you want to bake a cake, you follow the same steps and get the same delicious result each time. Now let's break down what makes an effective SOP. First off, clarity is key. Your SOPs need to be easy to understand so that everyone can follow them without any confusion. Next up, it should cover all necessary aspects of the task or process from start to finish. This includes safety measures and quality checks too. Another important aspect is regular review. Just like how you update a recipe when you discover an even better way to make your cake, SOPs need periodic updates as well. These reviews help keep procedures current with changes in technology, regulations, or business needs. So why are SOPs so crucial? They create consistency, reduce errors, and improve efficiency. When every employee knows exactly what they're supposed to do and how to do it, productivity skyrockets. Plus, new hires can get up to speed quickly thanks to these detailed procedures. Lastly, let's touch on the benefits of having well-documented SOPs. It reduces training time since everything is laid out step by step. It also makes audit trails easier to follow should there be any compliance issues. And perhaps most importantly, it gives your team a sense of security knowing they're working according to established guidelines. In conclusion, standard operating procedures are the backbone of many successful businesses. They provide clear direction and ensure that every task is completed consistently and efficiently. Remember, whether you're baking cakes or managing complex business processes, having those detailed step-by-step guides makes all the difference in achieving success. Thank you for joining me today as we explored the world of SOPs. All right, everyone, let's dive into Statistical Process Control, or SPC for short. Imagine you're running a manufacturing plant, and suddenly one day your products start coming out with defects. How do you figure out what went wrong? Well, that's where SPC comes in. It's like having a detective to solve mysteries about quality control issues. First off, let's talk about the basics of SPC. At its core, it's all about monitoring and controlling processes to ensure they meet certain standards consistently. Think of it as keeping an eye on how well your production line is doing its job from start to finish. Now, when we use SPC, we typically rely on two main tools: control charts and capability analysis. Control charts are like visual trackers that plot data points over time, showing trends and variations in the process. They help us spot any unusual patterns or shifts early on so we can address them before they become big problems. Another key aspect is capability analysis. This involves comparing your process performance to specific goals or targets. It's about asking questions like, are our products meeting the desired specifications? How consistent are we in hitting those targets? All right, let's break this down a bit more with an example. Say you're making widgets that need to be precisely 10 centimeters long. You'd measure each widget and plot these lengths on a control chart. Over time, if your process is under control, the lengths will fall within predefined limits. But if suddenly some start falling outside those limits, it's like waving a red flag saying there's an issue needing attention. Now, let's talk about how to set up SPC effectively. Start by identifying key characteristics of your product or service that are critical for quality. Then collect data on these characteristics and create control charts accordingly. Regularly review these charts for any unusual patterns and take corrective actions as needed. It's all about continuous improvement. Finally, let's touch on the benefits of using SBC. Not only does it help you catch problems early, but it also promotes a culture of quality throughout your organization. By monitoring processes closely, everyone becomes more aware of their impact on overall product quality and is motivated to do better. So there you have it, folks. Statistical process control is an essential tool for maintaining high-quality standards in any process-driven environment. It's all about staying vigilant, spotting issues early, and continuously improving your methods. So, let's dive into today's topic, value stream mapping. Imagine you're looking at a complex process within your organization and feeling overwhelmed by all the moving parts. Now, wouldn't it be great if there was a way to visualize every step, every handoff, every delay? That's where value stream mapping comes in handy. Value stream mapping is like creating a blueprint of your current processes from start to finish. It helps you see exactly how materials or information flow through various stages and identify areas for improvement. By breaking down each stage into smaller components, you can pinpoint inefficiencies and bottlenecks that might be slowing things down more than necessary. To get started with value stream mapping, you first need to select the specific process you want to map out. It could be anything from product development to order fulfillment. Once you've chosen your focus area, gather all relevant team members who are familiar with this process and have them walk through each step together. This collaborative effort ensures that no detail is overlooked. Next, draw a simple flowchart using symbols like arrows for direction, rectangles for tasks, diamonds for decision points, and ovals to represent the start or end of your process. As you map out these elements, be sure to include lead times, inventory levels, and any delays or wait times that might occur during the process. After completing your initial draft, review it closely with your team to ensure accuracy and completeness. This is where the rubber meets the road literally. This step can reveal some surprising insights you hadn't considered before. Once everyone agrees on the final version, you're ready to identify areas for improvement. Now that you have a clear picture of how things currently work, look at each stage and ask yourself, how could we make this faster? More efficient? Are there any unnecessary steps we can eliminate? These questions will guide your efforts to optimize the process. Remember, small changes can lead to big improvements over time. In conclusion, value stream mapping is a powerful tool for improving operational efficiency by visualizing and analyzing complex processes. It's all about understanding where you are now and identifying clear paths forward to better performance. So grab some markers, get your team together, and start mapping out those valuable streams today. All right, everyone. Today we're diving into Kaizen events and rapid improvement. Now, let's start by understanding what Kaizen means. It's a Japanese term that translates to good change or improvement. In business terms, it focuses on making small but meaningful changes regularly to enhance efficiency and productivity. So why do we need Kaizen events? Well, these are structured workshops where teams collaborate intensively over a few days to identify problems and implement solutions quickly. They're all about rapid improvement through focused brainstorming and immediate action planning. The beauty of these events is they enable quick wins, which can then lead to larger organizational changes. Let's break down how a typical Kaizen event unfolds. First, we have the preparation phase, where team members gather data on current processes, identify bottlenecks, and set clear objectives for improvement. Next comes the analysis stage. Here, participants dive deep into problem areas, brainstorm solutions, and select the best options based on feasibility and impact. Then it's time to implement those selected improvements immediately. This hands-on approach ensures that changes are tested right away, reducing any guesswork or delays. Finally, we review our progress and adjust plans as needed. It's all about continuous improvement, learning from each step along the way. One key aspect of Kaizen events is engaging stakeholders at every level within the organization. By involving everyone from frontline workers to management, you ensure a comprehensive approach that addresses multiple perspectives and needs. This inclusivity fosters a culture of innovation where employees feel empowered to contribute their ideas for improvement. Incorporating rapid improvements through Kaizen events can significantly boost productivity and quality. It's not just about fixing problems, but also creating sustainable processes that will continue to evolve over time. By focusing on these small, actionable changes, teams can achieve big impacts without overwhelming resources or schedules. So remember, whether you're looking to streamline a high-ticket process or tackle the nitty-gritty details of daily operations, Kaizen events offer an effective way to make meaningful improvements quickly and efficiently. All right, everyone, let's dive into what ISO 9001 is all about and why it matters for businesses big and small. So, to start off, imagine you're running your own little business or working at a larger company. You want everything to run smoothly, right? Well, ISO 9001 provides the framework to help achieve that goal. First things first, what exactly is ISO 9001? It's a set of international standards for quality management systems that ensures organizations are consistently meeting customer and user requirements. The core idea here is about providing high-quality products or services in an efficient manner. Now, why would you want to follow these guidelines? Well, implementing ISO 9001 can lead to better processes, improved efficiency, reduced costs, and happier customers, all of which contribute to a healthier bottom line. Let's break down the main components of ISO 9001. It includes several key principles like customer focus, leadership commitment, engaging people, process approach, continuous improvement, evidence-based decision-making, relationship management, and finally, risk-based thinking. Each one plays an important role in building a robust quality management system. The beauty of ISO 9001 is that it's flexible enough to fit any organization, regardless of size or sector. Whether you're dealing with high-ticket items or providing everyday services, the principles remain the same. So how do you go about getting certified? First, assess your current processes and identify areas for improvement. Then, develop a quality management system tailored to your business needs. Next, implement this system and get it audited by an independent third-party organization. Once you pass the audit, voila, you're ISO 9001 certified. But remember, certification is just one step in a continuous journey towards excellence. Regular audits and reviews help ensure that your quality management system stays relevant and effective over time. In conclusion, ISO 9001 provides businesses with a solid foundation to deliver consistent quality and customer satisfaction. By following these guidelines, companies can improve their processes, reduce waste, and ultimately achieve long-term success. All right, everyone, let's dive into auditing techniques for compliance. It's like making sure your company is following all the rules and regulations it should be, right? So today we're going to talk about some key strategies that will help you stay on top of everything. First off, understanding what needs to be audited is crucial. You have to know which areas are high risk or require specific attention based on industry standards or government mandates. For example, if your company deals with financial records, then auditing techniques like sampling and trend analysis might be particularly important. Next up, let's talk about the tools you can use for these audits. There are software solutions that automate a lot of this process, saving time and reducing errors. But even when using tech, it's vital to know how to interpret the data correctly. This is where your expertise really comes into play, understanding not just what the numbers say, but why they might be saying it. Another important technique is performing regular audits rather than waiting for a crisis to hit. Proactive auditing helps catch issues early before they become major problems. It's like maintaining your car regularly instead of letting it break down on the highway. Then there's communication. Make sure everyone involved knows what you're looking for and why these audits are important. Clear, ongoing dialogue ensures that all team members understand their roles in compliance, and can contribute effectively to meeting regulatory standards. Lastly, don't forget about documentation. Keeping detailed records of your audit processes is crucial not only for transparency, but also for future reference. It helps when you need to justify decisions or face any inquiries from regulators or stakeholders. So there you have it, some key auditing techniques to help keep your organization compliant and running smoothly. Remember, the goal isn't just to tick boxes, but to foster a culture of compliance within your team. Today, we're going to dive into something really useful for any project you manage or work on the PDCA cycle. Now, PDCA stands for Plan Do Check Act, and it's like a roadmap for making sure everything goes smoothly from start to finish. Let's break this down step by step. First up is planning. This phase is all about laying out your goals clearly, figuring out exactly how you're going to achieve them, and getting all the resources lined up that you need. It's kind of like mapping out a route before embarking on a road trip, knowing where you're starting from, where you want to go, and which roads are best suited for your journey. Next comes the doing part. This is when you actually put your plan into action. You start implementing what was planned in that first phase. Think of it as setting off on that trip with all your gear packed neatly inside your car. Everything's ready to hit the road and see where it takes you. After you've begun executing your plans, it's time for checking. This step involves monitoring progress closely and comparing results against what was originally planned. It's like keeping an eye out for any unexpected detours or traffic jams while on that trip, making sure you stay on track towards reaching your destination. Finally, we have the acting phase. Here, you take action based on what you've learned during the checking stage. If everything went as planned, great. You've successfully completed your project. However, if there were any issues or things didn't go quite right, this is where you make adjustments and improvements for next time. So let's recap. Plan. Set up your goals and resources. Do. Start implementing those plans. Check. Monitor progress closely. Act. Adjust accordingly based on what you've observed. This cycle can be applied to any project or process, big or small. It's a simple yet powerful tool that helps ensure consistent quality and success in whatever you're working on. That's all for today's lesson on the PDCA cycle. Remember, it's not just about following steps, but also reflecting and improving along the way. Today, we're diving into milestone planning and tracking, an essential part of any project management toolkit. Imagine you're building a high-ticket home renovation project or launching a new product line. Knowing when each stage is completed helps keep everything moving smoothly without bottlenecks. Let's break down how to plan milestones effectively. First off, start by identifying key stages in your project timeline that serve as checkpoints for completion and progress evaluation. These are typically significant events with clear deliverables attached. For example, finishing the foundation work on a construction site or finalizing design prototypes for a new product would be such milestones. Next, assign due dates to these milestones based on realistic timelines for each stage of your project. This involves considering factors like resource availability and dependencies between tasks. Once you have all your milestone dates set, it's time to track them closely. To keep an eye on how things are progressing towards these goals, use tools like Gantt charts or project management software that allow you to visualize progress clearly. Regularly update the status of each milestone so everyone involved knows where they stand and what's coming next. It's also important to schedule regular reviews to assess if any adjustments need to be made due to unforeseen circumstances. These check-ins help ensure your team stays on track without getting derailed by minor setbacks, keeping momentum going towards achieving project goals. Finally, celebrate each milestone reached, as it's a great way to motivate the team and reinforce positive progress. This might look like acknowledging achievements during meetings, or even throwing a small celebration when major milestones are accomplished. In summary, effective milestone planning and tracking involves identifying key stages in your project timeline, assigning due dates, using tools for visualizing progress, scheduling regular reviews, and celebrating completed milestones. By doing this, you'll ensure that your projects stay on schedule and everyone involved feels motivated to keep pushing forward. That's it for today's lesson on milestone planning and tracking. I hope you found it useful and are now feeling more confident about how to manage project timelines effectively. All right, everyone, let's dive into today's topic on effective communication in teams. Communication is key to any successful team effort, and we're going to explore how you can improve it. First off, why does good communication matter? Well, it fosters understanding among teammates, reduces misunderstandings, and helps everyone stay aligned towards common goals. Now, let's break down some tips that will help you communicate more effectively in your teams. Start by setting clear expectations early on. Make sure every team member understands what needs to be accomplished and how their role fits into the bigger picture. This clarity can prevent confusion later on. Another important aspect is listening actively. When someone speaks, really pay attention to what they're saying. Nodding occasionally or offering short responses like "I see" or "got it" shows you're engaged. Next up, be concise and direct. Get straight to the point without beating around the bush. People appreciate clear and straightforward communication that doesn't waste time. Also, make sure to use appropriate channels for different types of messages. For quick updates and minor questions, a chat tool works well. But for more complex discussions or decisions, face-to-face meetings or video calls are better suited. Another tip is to maintain an open-door policy. Encourage team members to come forward with ideas, concerns, or feedback whenever they feel it's necessary. This openness builds trust and helps everyone stay on the same page. Don't forget about nonverbal cues either. Your body language can convey a lot about your attitude towards what's being discussed. Make eye contact, nod occasionally, and lean in slightly to show you're fully engaged. Finally, always follow up after meetings or discussions with a summary of key points agreed upon. This helps everyone stay aligned and reduces the chances of misunderstandings down the line. In conclusion, effective communication is all about clarity, engagement, openness, and consistency. By implementing these tips, your team can work together more efficiently and achieve better results. Today, we're going to dive into some practical conflict resolution techniques that can help you manage disagreements more effectively. Whether it's at work or in your personal life, learning how to resolve conflicts gracefully can make all the difference. Let's start by understanding what conflict resolution is really about essentially. It's about finding common ground and working towards a solution that satisfies both parties. First up, we have active listening. This means truly paying attention when someone else is speaking. It involves not just hearing their words, but also picking up on the emotions behind them. When you're actively listening, you show empathy by acknowledging their feelings. For example, if they say "I feel frustrated," you might respond with something like, "It sounds like this situation has been really tough for you." Next, let's talk about the importance of staying calm and composed during a conflict. Keeping your cool is crucial because it prevents the argument from escalating into something bigger. Take deep breaths if needed and avoid getting defensive or angry. Remember, the goal here isn't to win an argument, but to find a solution together. Another key technique is finding common ground. Look for areas where both parties agree and build on those points. For instance, if you're arguing about a project timeline with a colleague, you might start by agreeing that completing the project successfully is important for everyone involved. Negotiation skills are also vital in conflict resolution. This means being willing to compromise and find middle ground solutions. Sometimes it's necessary to give a little to get something back. Think of it as making a deal where both sides benefit. Lastly, don't forget about follow-up communication after resolving the issue. Checking in with the other party later shows that you care about maintaining good relationships even beyond the conflict. It could be as simple as sending a text message saying, "Hey, just wanted to see how things are going since we talked last week." In conclusion, mastering these techniques: active listening, staying calm, finding common ground, negotiating effectively, and following up can greatly enhance your ability to resolve conflicts smoothly. Remember, every conflict is an opportunity for growth and understanding, so embrace it as such. That's all for today's lesson on conflict resolution techniques. Thank you for joining me on this journey through essential tools for process improvement. Over the past few weeks, we've covered a wide range of topics designed to give you a solid foundation in Lean Six Sigma and process improvement methodologies. We started with an introduction to Lean Six Sigma, exploring its importance and benefits. From there, we delved into the defined phase tools such as voice of the customer, VOC techniques, and process mapping for clarity. The measure phase introduced us to essential data collection methods and basic statistics and metrics, while the analyze phase focused on root cause analysis and hypothesis testing basics. In the improve phase, we learned about brainstorming techniques for solutions and design of experiments fundamentals, which are crucial for developing effective process improvements. The control phase covered standard operating procedures and statistical process control to ensure ongoing success. We also explored lean tools like value stream mapping and Kaizen events, as well as quality management systems, including ISO 9001 basics and auditing techniques. Additionally, we discussed project management tools such as the PDCA cycle application and milestone planning and tracking. Finally, team development skills were covered with effective communication in teams and conflict resolution techniques being highlighted. The most important takeaways from this course are understanding how to apply Lean Six Sigma methodologies to improve processes efficiently and effectively. Remembering these key tools will empower you to tackle real-world challenges confidently. Now that you have the knowledge, don't hesitate to put it into action. Whether at work or in your personal projects, these skills can make a significant impact. As we conclude this course, I wish each of you success in applying what you've learned and achieving great results in your future endeavors. If you'd like to stay connected or share feedback, please feel free to reach out to me directly or leave a review for the course.